My Muse, it's me. I just got back from a really long run and it was really hot. So I am toast. But that's okay. I showered so you don't have to smell me. But still, I am toast. Without peanut butter. And that's sad. Anyway, so got something fun to talk to you about. Fun. Fun's a relative term. So a couple nights ago, I started writing Reapers 4, A Midsummer Night's Reap. Now, before I started writing this new book, I can't lie to you, I was a little nervous. It has been, 3 years since I wrote the last book? 3, maybe 4. That's a long time in artistic terms. I've written a lot of books since then. And I really wasn't so sure about how easily it was going to be for me to dive right back in to that world. Now, to be fair, with a nod to Letterkenny, when I finished writing the third book, I kind of knew what was going to happen in the fourth book. I mean, I had an idea, and it was a really cool idea. But then life got in the way, and I started writing other things, and for some strange reason, I thought, well, maybe this series is done. But people still like the series, and it got really popular again. So I thought, well, I really need to get back to it. And the publisher said, yeah, you can write as many of those as you want. So I agreed to it. And I knew that after I finished The Ghosts of Brookhaven that I would start writing Reapers 4. Yeah, I was nervous. I thought for sure that I was going to start this new file for this new book and just stare at the page and go, I have no idea what I'm doing. However, I was pleasantly surprised that as soon as I wrote that first word, it all just started coming right back out. How is that? How is it possible that I can go 4 years-ish without writing in this particular universe and pick it right back up as if I had finished writing the third book yesterday? Let me tell you why. It's all about characters. And it's all about strong characters. Now, I talk about this a lot. I don't know how many discussions you and I have had about writing strong characters. We've had a lot. But this time around, it just really hits home the fact that strong characters are not just a good thing, they are necessary. Now, when I started thinking about what I wanted to talk about with this today, I thought, well, what makes a really strong character? Now, many of you know that I don't come from a literary background. I come from an acting background. I have a bachelor's degree in theater communications and an MFA in acting. So I know my way around characters. And I sort of apply a lot of the things that I learned as an actor to my writing. And it helps profoundly. And when I approach a character, now I don't write this out. I do this all mentally. And because I've been writing for so long and I've written so many books, it just happens naturally now. At first, however, it is important that you write these things down because you're not going to be used to diving this deep into characters. And I'm going to be honest with you. This is kind of the necessary for probably most every character you write. Here's how you approach it. The first thing you do is you ask, what does the character want? Now, this could be really big. It could be really big. It could also be really specific. And the more specific you get, the better it's going to be. This character doesn't want to just survive. This character wants to survive and find the spouse of their dreams and be rich and have 3.5 kids and drive a Bentley, and you get the picture. Now, the next thing you have to ask yourself is, what is in the way of the character getting what they want? Maybe this character is illiterate. Maybe this character doesn't know how to function in the world of business. I don't know. But you've got to find the things that prevent this character from getting what they want. That's so important. Because if you don't put things in the way of the characters getting what they want, you have written a Mary Sue. And like we talked about last time, you don't want a Mary Sue. Capiche? Okay. So, the next question you want to ask and answer is, what are the characters' relationships? Now, that could be very broad. But is there a specific relationship that is important to this character? Now, it doesn't have to be a relationship with another person. It could be, what are the characters' relationships to certain moments in time? What are the characters' relationships with their enemies? What is the character's relationship with the thing that's in the way of getting what they want? Could be, what's the relationship with the character with inanimate objects? What is the relationship of the character with themselves? You see, the more questions like this you can answer, the more fleshing out of the character you're doing, even before you start writing the character. Now, when you first start, like if you're writing the way I write, and you don't, this gets really tricky. When you're writing without an outline, when you're just writing off the cuff, off the seat of your pants, by the seat of your pants, sometimes you might not know these things right off, okay? Now, and I've done this before. So I have started writing a book, and I just put in a main character. It's almost like I put in a generic main character. And then something at the beginning of the book, like first chapter, will spark inspiration for that character. So I'm going along and I'm writing this kind of generic character, right? And then out of nowhere, an inciting incident will happen, or I'll discover what it is that the character wants. And once I've discovered what that character wants, everything changes. Everything changes for the character, for the book, for the universe, everything within the realm of that book. Now, when that happens, there might be times, if it doesn't happen until, like if it happens in the second or third chapter, I might have to go back to the first chapter with all the previous chapters and kind of fill in some blanks. Especially if I have written a fairly generic character, because I simply don't know what this book is about yet. And that's kind of how I write sometimes. And I allow those discoveries to happen, knowing that I'm going to have to go back and fix some things. And that's fine. Because the way I write, I'm going to go back the next night anyway and fix things as I go. So it's really easy for me to fix those things. Now, one thing you don't want to do is write along, write with a generic character, write. Discover what that character is really about, what that character wants, and what's in the character's way of getting what the character wants, and then just keep on writing. Write until you finish the book. And then you have to all of a sudden go back to the beginning and go, oh yeah, I have to add some things to the beginning because of how the character changed in chapter whatever. Because here's what happens. And this is mostly because of the way I write. So I throw in a generic character and I start writing, and end of chapter 1, chapter 2-ish, something like that, I discover what the character is about, okay? If I were to just go on, I'm going to continue that book based on what I've discovered there at that moment. So I have all of that stuff prior to that that's just kind of blank. It's just kind of a blank canvas. So if I go back After I've discovered that crucial thing about this character, if I go back, before I continue on, if I go back and I fill in some blanks, the process of filling in those blanks is going to also help color that character even more. So, for instance, I have discovered that, I don't know, well, let's stick with the character wants to be the richest person in the world. Okay? And I get to that point, and then I discover that what is in the way of that character is that character is illiterate. Or the character has a love affair with a lawnmower. Yeah, the character has a lawnmower fetish. So they're going to spend all their money on lawnmowers. Thank you, neighbor. So I go back to the beginning and I go, oh, well, I need to pepper the beginning with some hints about him being in love with lawnmowers. And in the process of doing that, I might discover that there's a particular type of lawnmower that this character has a fetish over. Maybe it's not a push mower, maybe it's a riding lawnmower. And then all of a sudden I might discover in the fixing of all of that there's a reason why this character has a fetish for riding lawnmowers. Maybe it was because his dad was absolutely obsessed with riding lawnmowers when he was a little boy. And then that all of a sudden opens up all of these crazy, weird kind of doors that I may want to open up and peek through, or I may want to lock and never ever look through again. But you see what I'm talking about, that it's going to dictate and inform this character even more. So when I get back to that point where I made all those discoveries, I can go off on all of these other different tangents and all of these other, dive down these other rabbit holes that I might not have had I not gone back and filled these in prior to continuing on. So I have created an incredibly deep character that has relationships to all of these different things just in the first couple of chapters. But I have to answer those questions. If I don't answer those questions, that's just three simple questions to answer. I'm not asking things like what is the character's favorite color, what's the character's favorite movie or song. You can do that to even make it more. I do tend to like to answer those questions like what kind of music does the character love? Because the music that people love really does color who they are quite a bit. What if this character loves metal? That paints a completely different picture than if the character loves country music. So, you see what I mean? What's the character's favorite food? Does the character drink? What's the character's favorite drink? You've seen these lists. Good gravy. They're all over Facebook. Facebook trying to mine all your information and discover what it is that you like so that maybe they can feed you more ads. That's conspiracy theory talk. I forget I just mentioned it. But you could find on Facebook all those questionnaires. Just grab one. Just grab one of those and answer those questions for the character. And you will start getting deeper and deeper into that character so that when you take 4 years off from writing a book, you can go right back into that character and you're, boom, immediately right back in their shoes. And it won't take a whole lot of effort to get into it. Now, of course, I did go back and read Reapers 3 because I knew that there were some things that I had forgotten about that were key to the next book. So, if you do take a 3-4 year hiatus from a series, make sure you go back and read at least the last book so you know where you left off. Because you don't want that big leap of logic to happen where your readers are going, wait a second. In the last book, the character's middle name was Rafe, and now it's Jean. I don't know. That's just an example. Anyway, it's really important to have well-crafted and dimensional characters so that should you take some time off from a book, it's not that hard to get back in. Do yourself a favor. Trust me. It will make your life a whole heck of a lot easier, your book's a whole lot more interesting, and your readers a lot more interested. Anyway, that's all I got today, Muse. I'm going to see if my next door neighbor can whip out a few more power tools on me. I don't know, maybe a router, table saw. Who knows? A blower. I don't know. Anyway, I'm going to recover now from my run because I'm still toast. I'm going to spread some peanut butter on me because I love me some peanut butter. Peanut butter is my comfort food. Because peanut butter, like you, is awesome. If my thumb was covered in peanut butter, I'd be licking it right now. Lick, lick, lick.